had a good time tonight. Definitely think you are lovely. However, I would love to, if we're gonna go to your place on Thursday. I mean, I am looking to have that physical intimacy to see if like I am sexually compatible with you. So like if I'm gonna come over, like I would be hoping to like hook up, have sex, have a good time, have like that romantic spark and that physical spark there for my own sake, because it's hard for me to continue dating someone and seeing them if I don't know if I'm sexually compatible. So um, I know you said I don't know about that. So like I guess my thing is like what would be the point of me coming over then if we're not gonna like hook up and like cuddle and like be intimate with each other. And if that's what you don't want, that's fine. But like, I think we should just like end it here then, respectfully, just because I first date that's fine. Like, you want to get to know each other, I'm all about that. But like, I am.
All right, I had enough of that. All right, so he's being very direct, which, you know, I honestly wouldn't go that route just because it's kind of aggressive. You kind of get it giving off you don't care about the woman, but you're also trying to get consent and guarantee that you're going to be in the bag. And I think when a person talks like this, they've done it before and it's worked. It just didn't work with this particular person. But, you know, as I mull over these thoughts as far as his 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 way of communication, I feel like this is naturally who this person is, and there's so many other ways you could communicate this and get this going. But at the same time, if this is how he rolls and he doesn't want to waste any of his time and he doesn't see anything that will take him to that second date where the idea of them being, together in bed, YouTube, um, I could see why he would say that. And it's kind of like a woman. Sometimes women they'll meet someone, and this is not all, there's some, and that man may not check all the boxes, but he may be good in a lot of areas. They may not be very attracted to him, or they may be interested in the value that he brings in other areas. He may be very funny. He may be financially forward, and when they put all these things together, they're like, this is not necessarily the best person for me, but I like all these other things. And maybe this humor or maybe his physicality is going to bridge that gap and allow them. And I think with him too, he may be like, look, nothing really is standing out. I want to see what that does. And if that does what it needs to do, then maybe that will push me over the edge. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that because people do that all the time. However, me personally, I think a little smoother. And if you're vibing with the person and you see it, it kind of naturally tends to go that way. But in today's days and age, you don't want to get caught out here and get accused of anything. So him getting consent in this manner, you know, I understand it. I understand it. Not my route, but I can respect it. And the way he's speaking, it seems like he did that. But let's see what these other creators have to say about that.
I don't know if you guys heard about that voice memo situation where that guy sent that woman the voice memo saying like, "Hey, I essentially wants to have relations like on this second date. If we don't, I don't want to see you anymore." And you can look up the full voice memo, but that's like the spark notes of it. And the thing is, I feel like people are missing a very big thing with that. In the voice memo itself, he mentioned like he was like, "Oh yeah, you said before that you don't really know about that, but da da da." So it already sounded like he probably mentioned it before and that she didn't again enthusiastically consent that that's what she wanted to do. So it's like, yeah, this is icky, this is creepy. And the things, even if not for that, I still don't think that's something anybody should be doing. Like the first thing I saw about it was someone being like, oh yeah, this is like the pillar of communication and he's just autistic, ha ha ha. And for one, and look, this could just be my thing, I don't believe that he wants to sleep with her just to see if they're compatible in the bedroom. I don't believe that. But even if I did, I feel like you cannot go about it in such a manner. Like you can't.
He's cooking. I mean, not necessarily my take, but I do understand where he's coming from as far as it being a little creepy, a little icky. He did talk about how this may or may not have been talked about on the first date, which is kind of crazy, but who's to say? I'm a big believer in spending a lot of time before you go out on a date with someone communicating. So you know what you're getting yourself into. You know what I mean? A couple FaceTimes, couple conversations, and you get to the point where you could be like, all right, this person's gonna lead in that direction, and if not, you're not wasting a lot of time. Now, granted, some people are just like, hey, I met you Tuesday, we're going out Thursday, and Saturday, I want to see what it do. You know what I mean? And that's not necessarily the best route because you could come up in situations that you can't come back from, and things are real. So, yeah.
Set up consent in advance because anything could happen. Like, imagine they go on the date, like her stomach starts hurting, and then she's like, "Oh, I don't want to do it." But then in her mind, she's like, "Oh, I agreed earlier," or in his mind, he's like, "Oh, well, you agreed earlier." Like, it's got to be an in the moment thing, bro. Like, imagine I was like, "Yo, we should sleep together exactly 5 years from now," and you're like, "All right, bet." And then I pull up on your doorstep 5 years from now. I'm like, "Yo, it's time." Like, that would be ridiculous, right? Because who knows what's going on with you? Who knows if that's something you still want to do? And the thing is, when it's given in a fashion where it's like, okay, we're either doing this or I don't want to see you anymore, that's when it becomes a problem. Because it's like, if she's like, okay, that's a deal, and then she doesn't sleep with him for whatever reason, even if he was like the nicest guy and he completely understood, I feel like it paints her as like, oh my gosh, like I took this deal away. It kind of makes her.
That's a hard take for me. I don't know. I mean, if you are saying things hoping that it goes in a direction, and you state that this is what you want, and she agrees, and she pulls back the deal, that's just life. Like, that's fine. A million things could be going on with her, and it's not for you to blame. And if you just are more chill about it, yeah, you could talk about it. You know what I mean? And allow it to happen. And yeah, granted, if you're saying, hey, like I'm interested in this. If you're not interested in that, I'm gonna go my route. It's the same way if you meet someone at the bar or the club and you communicate to them, hey, I like you, da 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 da, boom, boom, boom. Let's do this. Let's go here. The person has every right to be like, no, I'm not interested in that. And he has the right to be like, hey, like if you're not trying to do this over here, then I'm cool. It does come off crazy, but it's not the wildest thing. Like nothing physically has happened. Nothing has nothing in the environment has created an unsafe feeling for the person. This is before things get heated or things even get into that realm. You're not even with the person, like in the same room when you're having this conversation. So everything about this is cool in the sense of like you could just say, I'm not into that. I don't want to do that. You gave her all the opportunity to be like, nah, I'm cool. So yeah. And yeah, his take is cool in a way. I mean, I wouldn't have dug into it that deep, but it's really not that deep. But let's see what this other creator has to say.
What would you rather have him do to better communicate that hooking up was his goal? Or is it that you believe that his desires in and of themselves are bad and wrong? A lot of people discussing this voice memo thing are claiming that he was being coercive or giving an ultimatum. They are making a claim for a procedural issue. The way that he did it was wrong. And though I can agree that maybe this wasn't the smoothest thing or the kindest thing to say to someone, that he wasn't interested in getting to know her unless they had a sexual connection, but the procedure was not necessarily incorrect. I think what people are really objecting to was the content of his request. What people are really saying is that his desires are bad and wrong. A man desiring to have sex on the first or second date is bad and wrong. Though that may be something that you would object to on a date, that's perfectly fine for some other people. And he needs to go and date somebody for whom that is not an objection. So again, I pose the question, if a man's genuine desire is to have sex on the first or second date, how should he communicate that clearly and effectively?
She cooked. That's what I'm talking about. I like that. And she definitely brought up an interesting question. How do you tell someone like this is what you want? Now, granted, I like the air of it being aloof and just being in the air. I think when you're that direct, it becomes kind of transactional. But that only matters from the perspective of the idea that like this other person, you're not 100% sure they're into you as much as you're into them. Because normally if the vibe is there, then nothing really has to be said. This is really coming off from the male's perspective, or it could come off as a female's perspective too, because if a female saying that to a man, and there's plenty of videos of that happening, it's almost as if like you don't know if this other person likes you like that. And if they don't like you like that, you're telling them, hey, I want this with you. If you don't want this with me, I'm good. And if you went out with a date and set that standard forward, you're being an adult about it. Now, the words, how you went about it, not really my vibe, but I don't see anything necessarily wrong with this because there's so many other things that could have been done that would have been horrific and wrong. So, yeah, I'm all for that.